Templar Assassin. But God King, he's in no man's land. He tried to deal with the Tombstone, but it's going to cost him his life, Furious. He's down 40 seconds on the deck.
Alright, this Tombstone sign caused some problems. That max level Tombstone with more hits to kill it, and Mirana didn't want to commit hard for it, but Spectre ran in thinking, okay, I can just hit this and pop a Blade Mail, but this is still a 1300 health Spectre, and even with Blade Mail, you know, TA's got 1600 plus health, they've got heals and sustain on the Radiant side. That Spectre is playing as if, you know, she's like a 2 or 3 solid Spectre when she's kind of just got Blade Mail Yasha. It's not the kind of part of the game where you can just run in that aggressively, so we're going to see a bit more caution coming in from Mr. God King.
Props to Radiant though, they are doing a very good job at keeping this tier 1 mid alive, and they're going to hit a pretty decent timing soon. They actually get the tier 1 mid first, so this is going to open up the map. Roshan could be an option for them as they are hanging around the area. I don't know if they're going to do it without getting a pick off though. This could be dangerous.
They're going for it. Torrent can cause some problems. Kunkka a bit low in mana though. Now we'll scout things out. It's dying fast.
Well, we saw what happened last game. It looks like this time they will not lose anyone after claiming the Roshan. So we put a lot of emphasis on the fact that LBZS, they're going to have a very strong kind of 20-minute timing here once the BKBs get picked up because of how fast your Luna can farm, how fast your TA can farm. And now with that Aegis advantage as well, it just might be playing all into the cadence that they're looking for.
Yeah, and on the other side, I think the reason RNG don't even try contest is they've kind of slowed down their timing a bit. The Spectre dying in 2 fights in a row. Spectre was having such a great game before those deaths and was really starting to come online in a big way. Took a bit of a hit in terms of net worth, still seeing 5th and, you know, slowly climbing, but I feel like the Spectre would be around 9k net worth as well if not for those deaths and actually ready to fight with a Manta style. So I think RNG are like, okay, remember last game, you know, we control the late game. We're not in any rush. We can give them an Aegis and still be in a perfectly fine position. So they are looking to just kind of slow things down a bit here.
And the pickup potential on Radiant isn't as high as what you'd be hoping for the other team that's looking to slow it down. I mean, Irving's going for a lot more of this utility build. Hood into this early Aghanim shard. He's already got that press to attack maxed out. But this might just be a farming Aegis for a minute or two until their BKBs. I mean, just looking for the recipe on Wishing jumping mid. Actually, I say that. Instant press attack. Wishing's going to look to turn with the Tombstone so far in the backline of the Soul Repeal. This is not the start that RNG are looking for, even though they have killed off the line, but they're going to look to retreat. Red Panda, great use of the Cyclone, should allow them to get back to safety. And with all those ultimates committed, maybe now LBZS can look to get active to take this top tier 2 tower.
Yeah, definitely not a bad loss for LBZS, and if they can just, yeah, like you say, play active on the map, they're going to be the ones controlling this game right now. They're down 3k gold, they're down 6 kills to 14, but they're on a timer. There's a Spectre who's going to have a Manta soon, and when that Spectre hits Skadi, it could just be game over unless they've managed to turn this game around. If it's still an even-ish gold game and Spectre has Skadi, I don't see a way for Radiant to win this game, so it's go time now.
I really like this itemization from Radiant. Actually, second Felix? Just the shenanigans. I was bring up the emphasis. You got to push up top, Cat U. Blind Earthspike? Just shy. But I have a lot of single target priority with trying to burst heroes down. So QI, QX, maxed out Soul Rip with the Holy Locket. Irving, he's already got that Aghanim shard. So just a recognition that you have to play a little bit of bait game. You angle the TA, angle the Luna, and then with that mass heal, turn the fight from there, drop the Tombstone, and then chase down RNG when they overcommit.
Yeah, and similar to the early game today where FY played Mirani and went for this Yule's Urn, I feel like we're going to need to see a Spirit Vessel against all this healing. Luna's going to have a BKB, and so's TA, but still at some point the Spirit Vessel just feels like a necessary component to try and at least somewhat negate some of these heals.
Double BKBs now from Radiant, and they are going to smoke up. 3 heroes without the TA or Luna, but they are getting scouted on the map. X showing down bot, and Wishing showing mid. So RNG, with this information, let's see how they're going to play accordingly.
What's the move going to be? Spectre. Oh, she may get caught here. Fine's got a blink dagger.
Got the damage, 1900 health.
I think they
Do
should.
have Mars nearby. Finger's still on cooldown. Spectre falling low with that damage, and from QIQX, it is enough.
Barely.
They find the kill just in the nick of time. And now with the Tombstone in a power position, can RNG look to continue to take the fight? A BKB pop from Irving, in fact, press the attack. And
With the shard,
it's a-
they're so strong. You can't really fight into this max press the attack plus ag shard now, and great little pick off.
And they're gonna have another round with the finger. So if one of the heroes from RNG caught out here, that could just be another quick pick off for LBZS, and we've got a ball game here. This is neck and neck from what it was looking like early. RNG were potentially just going to steamroll over this game, but LBZS doing very well to even it out.
We'll see where things progress from here. Red Panda with the Philosopher's Stone on Brewmaster are going to be looking at a very fast Aghanim Scepter, but there is a gank coming his way.
Trouble.
They want to fight with the
Meta
Aegis
for the
expiring.
ultimate. They're actually going to turn, yeah. Haunt committed. Kill off the Lion, Radiant. TPs are starting to come through, but you have to pop the BKB on X. Not something you're looking to do. That's 9 seconds down the drain now.
Not as bad as the old days, but it's still not great. And just recognizing that once Lion blinks in aggressively and it's on a support, Spectre's like, great, they've used Hex, they've used Impale. It's my time to shine. Like, that Lion is the most annoying hero in these team fights. It's all of the control and lockdown. If they ever catch Lion aggressively jumping in or out of position, that's when RNG want to take a fight.
Love this itemization. Just continuing. Look at that Solar Crest on Legion. The recognition this game from Irving with his items, I think, is beautiful.
Oh, and this Luna's going like Glass Cannon almost. Mask of Madness, Daedalus. Like, I feel like usually it's this more stat item after the BKB. You see like a Skadi. Sometimes you usually see a Manta style here in the items, but there is no Manta, no Skadi. It's all damage output for Wishing.
Do you like this? Because, I mean, I wonder if they're lacking damage. It feels like LBZS, you just kind of need to survive the ultimates and survive the initial burst.
I don't mind it because they've got all these saves. I'm not sure how it's going to play out until I see some of these fights, but it seems okay to me just because they have this Legion. But the thing is, you can't have both TA and Luna running in because, you know, Legion can only save one of those two. You can't save both. We'll see the arrow immediately gets purged off. And yeah, this is going to be something that RNG can't really have a reliable initiation when there's this pressy attack.
They're going to be down the horn if a fight does break out here, and looks like it's a free T2 tower to claim. But still, the net worth is continuing to accumulate in RNG's favor. It's Conker's second at the moment. Leave is a Halberd freshly picked up. They got double Halberd now for RNG.
That's how you play against heroes like TA, and even this Luna with this build. Both TA and Luna with their Crystallis going very damage dealing oriented. They're going to have double Daedalus soon. That's all kinds of physical damage. I think the other thing is you want to just get like as many armor items as you can. It looks like they've got like Ags queued up with the Halberds. I wouldn't mind seeing an AC somewhere. Spectre's got plenty of stats to kind of have some good base armor for physical damage mitigation.
See what Radiant are looking to play here. Is there timing that we might see come out pretty shortly for LBZS? Because even though RNG lost a couple of those towers, they did a good job at least dodging these fights.
Ooh. I think they want to play around next Roche. That to me is, if they can get themselves Roche 2, which is probably Agshard for TA Luna both pretty damn good. Yeah. We'll have to see where that one ends up. But that having Aegis and Cheese means one of your carries gets Aegis and the other gets Cheese. Because they really have like two carries in a lot of ways. They're both very kind of squishy glass cannon carries, even with BKBs. So having Aegis cheese makes a big difference for their draft. The question is whether or not RNG is going to be ready to contest that. They won't have Skadi before then, just the one ultimate orb on God King, so will be perhaps a tricky Roche to fight into, but double primal split, that's a huge power spike for RNG.
Yeah, that it is. Brew also has the second level in the ultimate here, and we're going to see them look to smoke up this. I believe it got scouted out by the deep Observe ward in the lane from LBZS, and we've seen kind of their vision pay off pretty heavily here with the TA traps and how they've been warding across the map, and this is something that we're going to have to keep our eyes on as the game goes on, because just that vision advantage can be so important in team fights.
And both teams are just going to be standing around the Roche pit, standing around these cliffs and their wards. It's kind of the name of the game. Dire with a great ward themselves. Their ward by the enemy Ancient sees so much. Right now, I think it's scouted out this smoke potentially, or at least they're going to be unsmoked soon. So very helpful ward for this Roche engagement. It feels like there's at least a slight vision advantage for Dire. Actually, I mean, Radiant have that mid ward, which is also very good, but it's about to expire. So both teams with a lot of vision right now.
DD, and guess what? Roche is up. Okay. Oh no!
All right.
I hate seeing this. Why is this? Time and time again, there's just a DD in front of Roche. What do you know?
I have the observer ward. They scout that something's going on. The arrow not going to be on the mark though, so
they need to
they're going to have to force this fight with Primal Split.
Someone's going to go. Red Panda will before the stun. Horn's going to fly. Who's able to pick up the Aegis? It is going to be X, but God King finds the cheese. Have they been able to deal with the Tombstone? They've not. So Red Panda still second charge of the ultimate if they want to use it. God King falling low, but there's the cheese that's going to come into play. They dealt with X, but wishing he hasn't been able to pick up any of the items for Roshan, so you're not going to have a second life for the Luna, and the mass team fight from RNG is winning them this fight around the Roche pit as X getting shredded apart from the Spectre's daggers as Flyby another time for him to take over the fights with a double kill. And RNG, they're being playing a little bit slow, but again, their team fight execution on another level.
Yeah, it's Flyby. This guy's the hero of both these games. They commit all the BKBs to like try and secure the Aegis. Like TA gets Aegis as well as the Ag Shard, but the problem is the team fight that ensues once they all group up and Flyby catches everybody in the arena. If they kill God King when they throw everything, including the finger at him, maybe that ends up looking a little bit more even, but RNG, suddenly the ones on the high ground, and no buyback. They fought out for that fight. They have the full Daedalus on both their carries, and they lost these fights. They have no defensive tools, and as a result, RNG just going to get a lane of racks.
See how chaotic these fights are going to get with multiple primal splits, with Haunt, with boat flying, arena dropped, and can Radiant then be able to just train their mind to be able to focus on one target, get that mass burst heal, and then turn it from there? And that fight they weren't able to, and you were highlighting that God King was going to be a little bit late on the Skadi before these fights, and well, they win that. Now he's got the Skadi completed. Now the Aghanim's on D-Stone completed as well. So this is going to be scary from LBZS, but they are smoking up. They want to try and take a fight, knowing that the ultimates are on cooldown. They won't catch anyone, as RNG, the awareness allows them to get back to safety.
Had the ward mid, I think they actually saw the smoke right outside the Radiant base, so I think they knew it was coming. Brewmaster just preemptively TP'd in the trees, almost like saying, okay, they're going to pop this smoke in about a second, and I'm going to be just completing my TP. And unfortunately, that means RNG don't get punished. These ulti cooldowns are going to be all coming back up. The Haunt, the big one, and yeah, it just feels like the Haunt going on everyone makes it so hard for Legion to like save the right target. You can only use pressy attack on one person. He also will become one of the bigger targets if like Brewmaster can cyclone up this Legion commander. The fight could just be lost right there.
Flyby might be baiting. All of Radiant are down bottom, but they've got their ultimates back up. They can control the higher ground power position. Radiant in a decent spot because they're going to reveal the Moonlight Shadow. Jumping instantly on the Marauder with a great two-man Earth Spike, so they'll deal with Felix, but the Tombstone in the middle of the fight as well. These stones won't be able to secure that. And meanwhile, it's 2 down from RNG. They're going to have to look to retreat away with the BKB, but the Jewel's out just in the nick of time from Irving. Even though D-Stones has got the torrents flying left, right, and center, it is not enough, as LBZS will be able to hit back and find 3 targets.
Yeah. They were ready for that fight. They had the sentry that they walked into, so they were able to get the instant pick on Mirana. She doesn't get to use a single spell. No arrows, no Starstorm leaps, no Yules, no Greaves. She's just out of the fight. And then, you know, Spectre does all he can to kill the support line on the backlines. I like what God King's doing. He always has a dust so that he can solo kill this Lion, negating the impact of this Glimmer Cape. Problem is the way the rest of the fight's going with the TA Luna actually get full use out of their BKBs. This time they're popping BKB and just doing damage onto key targets, whereas Mars unable to find that big arena combo. It was kind of awkward. Like, the Mirana died and he was still stuck in those trees at the bottom side of the map, so they just weren't really on the same page when they jumped in.
Do you feel like that fight just kind of comes down to LBZS having a vision advantage and getting the initiation?
Yep. Oh, absolutely. I don't think RNG were expecting that sentry there in such like an odd part of the map. And RNG, yeah, they were just kind of running in blind with a Moonlight Shadow, so definitely it backfires. And I think the lesson there is, you know, RNG can't just rely on this haunt for giving them vision to start a fight, because the fight was already lost to the vision game when they used that haunt.
I do want to see how they try and use the ultimate for God King in regards to cancelling blinks, because I think that's been a big factor where we haven't seen them identify the Brewmaster issue. You know, he's going Aeon Disc next, and once you get that Aeon Disc, well, the Lion jump to cancel out the ulti is just not going to be as much of a factor. So, you know, maybe that Haunt can cancel the blink on Cat U. Even Irving now has a blink as well. So my eyes are on LBZS. If they can target down the Red Panda Brew, because those ultimates we saw game 1, so much chaos, and game 2 as well so far.
Yep. He's potentially the difference maker, but at the same time, even if he gets, even when he gets the Primal Split off, TA and Luna, both great cures for killing the Primal Split warriors. They've got bouncing glaives, they've got side blades, so you've got to really respect that spread damage coming out if you're this Brewmaster in ulti form. I think he's going to be having to, like, you know, send in the Cyclone Panda to get the backlines. He's going to have to micro his heart out to have an impact in these fights. He can't just have them grouped up, like, you know, the pub bad Brewmaster player is just, like, going to have them all grouped up and just charge at a target, throw stun, win more kit, but not spread them out onto different targets. That's what Red Panda needs to do and has shown he can do.
I wonder if he even thinks about going for the Ag Shard next with that Void Spirit, because it does actually provide a disarm for 2 seconds, and we see they have 3 halberds now. So much emphasis on shutting down the Luna, shutting down the TA with the recent halberd picked up on God King Spectre.
Yeah, that's a bit of an unconventional item, but just really valuing that survivability, knowing that neither TA nor Luna was initially itemizing towards MKB, but the MKB on TA will be coming out to help deal with that evasion a bit, but it just forces the TA to become even more of a glass cannon, which, you know, in some ways is a good thing. But obviously as TA, you have to get this MKB against the halberds that are just all over, triple halberds, and even outside of the MKB to pierce the evasion, this disarm can be so annoying. If you get it on before the BKB, it is so pesky.
RNG?
This ward again.
Great ward.
Yeah.
They're going to send Wishing this time. They should know they're behind him, so they're going to spear drag away with Arena. Drop what an Arena! It's away from Wishing. He's able to get the BKB off, but they're able to deal with him. This turn, Bo3, so much AoE control that LBZS cannot deal with. They won't protect the Luna, and it's going to cost them 3 heroes, maybe even Irving as well. There's a press the attack to the blink away, but now X is being targeted. They buy back on Wishing. Oh, that's a heavy commitment. LBZS, you don't have 2 other buybacks here on your Luna and Undying, so that is a big win condition now for RNG. So push on forward, X. The BKB's now expired, and the spear gets a connection. As TA will lose her life down for 90 seconds, and now it's just going to be on Irving to Wishing to hold this second set of racks down bot.
Flyby, what a insane Mars play. He spears out the Luna, but they were never really focusing Luna. His spear onto the Luna was just to force the supports to run in. Legion Commander and Lion are like, oh crap, Luna's been speared away from our base. We got to go in to help, but they were the real target. He speared Luna away and then arena'd like 3 heroes that were running in to help Luna. He wasn't even trying to target Luna with the arena, and RNG just cleaned up because of him. What a great heads-up play from him when it came to how he used his spells.
This has been a highlight series from Flyby. I mean, his Doom in game 1 was incredible. We're seeing his Mars performance now in this game 2 as well. You just highlighted that. What a team fight for him. The spear drag away, that ward gave them so much information. They saw the TA connect mid, and then just a couple seconds after, Luna showed on the wave. So they were so aware that they were baiting the Luna. And that vision and setup cost them massively. And now it's their last set of racks, and you might be going up against Megas here with TA still down for 15 seconds.
Yeah, you don't want that, but I'm not sure if they've got any good answers. Kunkka now with the tidal wave as well. Primal Split just being used to help make things a little bit faster, and also the Cyclones.
Jump in. How do you start? Tombstone shot, but they're not protecting the Tombstone at the moment, Felix. Okay, Mirana falling really low, but a great defensive yours keeps the life, and RNG, just objective-based gaming. Mega Creeps now on the cards, and LBZS, they've got the works to be able to come back in this game 1. Can they do it? They'll lose the Undying. Wishing and X both trying to stand their ground, but there's no more follow-up. RNG have reset off the arena. They do lose Red Panda. A quick use of the burst from the Lion along with the Templar Assassin, now with the Jewel out as well. God King, he's going to be healthy thanks to the creeps. Catyu's going to jump on the backline here. God King might end up falling, and he will. Okay, LBZS, they find 3. A triple for your Templar Assassin, but again, they're up against the wall now with the Mega Creeps coming in.
Yeah, it's maybe too little too late. They finally found a way to start the fight, catching the Brew before he could, well, coming out of his ultimate, and unfortunately, well, I guess maybe fortunately, they do have Roshan spawning in 15 seconds, so I think LBZS have to go for that Roshan. They cannot let RNG get themselves another Roshan. Spectre doesn't have buyback here if they can press forward a little bit. I mean, that's the thing. They win one fight and catch heroes without buyback. TA Luna, they shred buildings. Doesn't matter if you're down Mega Creeps. If all you need is to win that one fight and have heroes without buyback, and you can win the game.
Yeah, and I wonder, TA soon with the Aghanim Scepter is going to be very mobile, so it can go back, defend the base, and then rejoin the team as well, because Undying's not going to deal with the waves, the Lion, even Legion's not going to be. Legion has no dual damage. I just recognize this. Hasn't got a win.
Kunkka's got dual damage.
Yeah, Kunkka's got it.
Plus 10. He's rocking some. Yeah. You know, we talk about infinite scaling, but with Legion, it's always like, well, infinite scaling for who? And right now, it's for RNG's side, but. So Aghanim Scepter did go the way of the TA. You kind of mentioned it was coming up, and that's a big one when it comes to that global mobility.
So what else did we get? Aegis is on the Luna, and also TA is going to put the cheese in the fountain. So after that getting picked up, 6,000 net worth lead, but a big objective advantage that the side of Die have.
RNG is going to make sure they have all their... They don't mind taking a fight into this Aegis probably, but they want to have that assurance policy of, okay, we've got our next layer of items, we've also got buybacks on our key heroes, so that even if we lose a fight, we aren't just throwing this game. And they're also pretty close to a couple of level 25s. Kunkka is only a little bit of XP away. Mars about to hit 24, so some pretty big power spikes. Yeah, even Spectre is quarter of the way to 25, so... Realistically, if you're RNG, you're saying, well, we're up Megas, we could go fight, but level 25s are pretty insane when it comes to Dota 2 power spikes.
And they also have to keep in mind that Luna still has the buyback cooldown for another 3 minutes. So you've got to go through Aegis. Yes, that's definitely going to be a tricky thing, but if you get the kill on Luna, she's down and out of the count, and that's probably going to be all she wrote then.
Yeah. Oh, ooh, Rapier.
All right, let's go.
You're in a Mega Creeps game. You kind of got to do these crazy things. I mean, this is a 40-minute Luna who still has a Mask of Madness. This is usually one of those items that you're almost have to replace by at least this stage of the game, but just hasn't found the farm, and this game has just headed a direction where I don't think Wishing has felt like he's had an opportunity to fit something else in, so they're all in.
RNG? Bit disconnected at the moment with D-Stones to the eastern side, so we'll see if this Observe Ward from Catyu might be able to scout out anyone angling to connect. If they just get the vision on D-Stones to the higher gun, no, they'll run down instead. Smoke's gonna pop, Catyu, BKB instantly pop from D-Stones, he's gonna TP out, but they actually want to take the fight. A bit of a bait from D-Stones as the Horde's gonna fly, and Catyu, it's just the sacrificial lamb. The rest of LBZS have to get back to safety, but they're gonna turn. They've still got the Tombstone on the high ground. No, the BKB's committed and wasted here from Conker, but Wishing, he's gonna pop his own BKB as well.
The arrow
with
hits.
The arrow to fly, but the pressing attack gives him the protection. They bring it down though. The first life completely wasted, and then we've got to keep in mind he's got a Rapier, the Templar Assassin as well, just getting controlled in RNG. They've got too much gas in the tank. The buybacks are gonna come through, but is the Rapier enough? The Helmet completely kiting. A Jules on the backline, maybe they'll kill off Felix. They can't even get the first dual victory of the game, and now the Rapier is gonna end up falling as well. No buyback on Wishing, X-controlled. He'll get the protection inside the base. But LBZS without the Rapier, the third, it's almost down as well, and they've got to call it RNG. A convincing first series victory for them.
A pretty exciting end, and some definitely glimmers of hope from LBZS, but all in all, I would say it was a convincing win. Even a 40-minute plus game with a Rapier, potential comeback, it still had the the feel where RNG, they slipped up. It wasn't that perfect Dota, but when they had those slip-ups, they're like, okay, let's slow it down, guys. We've outdrafted them. We have this late game Spectre. Let's just, get that win. Even though they went for that like 30-minute win, they'll take the 45-minute win.
Yeah, definitely. And that's coming into it, I was questioning how easy of a series this was going to be for RNG, because LBZS, they did finish second in that low division. It's definitely a team that can take maps out of nowhere and potentially a series as well if they get that draft. But RNG, we're seeing if they've got a lineup that can have a lot of priority on team fight, then their execution is on another level, as we saw in this series. A 2-0 for them, taking down LBZS, and we're going to see them in the lower bracket. That being said, we'll send it to a quick break, and then we'll break down the series.
What an entertaining game from the two teams. But we do see RNG take the game 2 off of LBZS, making it a 2-0 this series in favor of RNG. They'll be... I can't even speak right now. I don't know what's going on. They'll be proceeding in the upper bracket while LBZS is going to go down to the lower bracket. But I have to say, game number 2 was a stronger performance from LBZS. There was a window of time in which they came back. Looked like they potentially could have taken this game off of RNG, but ultimately RNG turned it back on its head and secured game number 2. But Gods, I want to know, how did this window for LBZS arise, and how are they able to capitalize on it?
They did a really good job, I think, punishing RNG when they got a bit too overconfident. That first fight mid lane, it was like 8 kills to 0. LBZS hadn't even got a single kill. And they dropped their Tombstone in the river, it dies, and then RNG's like, let's chase. But their Spectre's not that farm, just has like a Blade Mail Yasha, and I think LBZS just did a really good job of recognizing their openings. They killed Spectre multiple times, and then they were able just to kind of find and kill off key targets using the Lion disables really well. So any of these fights where Lion was staying alive looked really good. The problem was Lion staying alive is pretty damn hard against the Spectre.
Definitely, but they were able to keep that Lion alive, ensure that they had a bit of a comeback mechanic there. But Aries, ultimately, what was the downfall for LBZS and the way for RNG to close out that game and the series?
I think it's a bit of a cop-out answer, but it definitely feels like RNG. They're just another tier over LBZS, and we kind of saw in a lot of these late game team fights just the execution and how they're able to kind of set up, prioritize which heroes they want to bring down. And when you've got a lineup that China's always been a region who have a lot of priority on team fight. They've been one of the best regions to always thrive in that area. And we just see back-to-back games now. They get those heroes to secure them. And I really wonder now, heading into the later stages of the tournament for RNG, if potentially, you know, this Brewmaster has to be a consideration to be banned out, because if they're showing already the priority here and how much impact that Red Panda can have on that, then other teams are definitely going to have to consider it in their drafting phase.
We'll have to wait and see how much of a priority the Brew does get for a band. That might also be something that plays in their favor. Maybe they got a whole load of heroes out there willing to be picked, and Brew's just a very tip of the iceberg sort of hero for them. But if you are on the side of LBZS, Gods, what are you looking to improve, and some big takeaways that you think they should be looking at here?
I'd say this game, drafting wise, felt a bit greedy. It felt like the three cores they had, usually when you're picking this offlane Legion commander, there's one obvious carry that you're trying to buff up with the press the attack. They had two, TA and Luna, who were kind of competing over farm, who kind of filled the same role. And it didn't really feel like there was enough farm to go around. And also, even though they had like two carries that were like kind of these, late game-ish heroes, neither of them were ever going to be able to outcarry a Spectre. So they had to play like a fast tempo game while being on the greedy side. So it felt like there were some drafting problems. Play-wise, their team fight looked a lot better than what we saw kind of in the previous series when it was the Elephant were heavy favorites against the underdog, against Magma. Magma looked a bit lost in the team fights, but good in lanes. This was like the opposite story, where the lanes were kind of even, but team fight-wise, LBZS, their team fights look good. So I think drafting, better team fight, less greedy, and then things can work out better for them.
Yeah, it almost paid off for them. They were pretty close to it. But maybe when we see them play next time, it might work out in their favor. Are there any sort of final thoughts that either of you would like to share on not just this game, but also the series that you saw from LBZS and RNG?
I think, like God said as well, like LBZS, how they're able to kind of execute at that level, and if they can get the draft that they're hoping for, because it felt like they didn't, back-to-back games, they didn't have a playmaker mid, and maybe this is something they're not as comfortable on, but we saw X on a Lena, we saw X on a TA. They're going this double kind of core draft, and that's too greedy. Games like this against RNG, against Elephant, against eHome, you're going to get punished. And this is TI qualifiers. You can't give the enemy team an opportunity like that. We see kind of the meta around the mid lane is a lot more orientated around making plays. And if you go down that route, then you need a little bit more of a faster position one, or at least other heroes in your support role or offlane to make those plays. And they just went all on the backs of hoping that they can sustain the initial bursts and then turn the fight from there with like the Legion Undying. So maybe just going for a draft that they can play a little bit more fast paced and actually make plays across the map.
Did you say that's pretty similar for you, Gods, thoughts wise?
Yeah, and I would just give final thoughts on RNG. Their performance was good, but I would be worried about having these slow-paced Spectre drafts with a support Brewmaster. They're playing Elephant next, and their offlane with FY and Yang was scary. I don't think you beat Elephant if you're playing a Brewmaster Spectre lane. I think they want you to pick those heroes against like the FY Hoodwink plus whatever it is, Hoodwink Mars lane, or whatever lane they go for. With that said, I'm very much looking forward to that series. It's a bit of like a grudge match where Red Panda, the former Elephant player, now looking to bring RNG to TI. So it is a very exciting series to look forward to.
Well, there you have it. RNG maybe picking up the pace in their game, and LBZS hoping to look for maybe less of a greedy draft. But that'll all play out when we do see them play again tomorrow. But before we head to a break, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Mate Mate. Mate Mate is a natural energy drink and is caffeine reimagined. You can try Mate Mate today and get more day, more night. You can head over to bts.gg/Mate Mate. But on top of that, we are also giving away some cases of Mate Mate. The giveaway is going to run 10 minutes after our series, so it's going on right now. The viewers, you guys can enter by typing in exclamation mark mate mate in chat. So I want to see as many mate mates in chat as I possibly can. It'll be 8 cans in a case. So make sure you guys do that and really support our sponsors out there so we can make this one happen. But that is going to be it from the 3 of us on the panel today. And after the break, you'll be joined by 3 new faces.